Hello and welcome to In Business Talks 2. We are thrilled to welcome you to our bonus episode, The Friday Fix. In our bonus episode, we will be discussing a business-related subject with either one of our wonderful In Business Networking members or a fellow business owner who will be sharing their advice, thoughts or knowledge on a particular topic.
We're your hosts, Tracy and Ian Earle, founders of In Business, a networking and business support community. We host online and face-to-face events, and we'd love to meet you, so why not come along? The link to book is in the show notes. This week's guest is James Robinson of Next Step Asset Finance Limited, and James is an independent broker with access to a large panel of lenders who offers his clients a high quality experience combining the best rates, a fast service, high levels of support and peace of mind that the finance supports their business and its next steps. Whether new or used, he provides common sense solutions to any businesses of any size and in any sector, in any UK location. So welcome to our Friday Fix today, and we have with us James Robinson of Next Step Asset Finance. Welcome, James.
Welcome, James. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you.
So I suppose we should start by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself, James. What is it that you do?
So I'm an asset finance broker, which involves financing equipment and vehicles and plant for businesses. So anything they're looking to buy new or used, rather than spending that actual amount of money and taking it out of the business, we put it on a finance agreement across 2, 3, 4, 5 years, so that they're making a monthly payment rather than taking the cash out of the business and leaving cash flow exposed at times. So that's what I do on the main. Sometimes we get asked to take the money out of assets that business owns. So say an asset's still worth £50,000, they can release some of the cash out of that and put that back into the business for whatever they need, whether they're putting a new project together or developing new products and use that money for the new project.
How do you sort of define asset finance then?
Well, it fits within the business commercial finance sector, but business commercial finance tends to get split into 3 categories. You tend to have the commercial finance brokers that do things like commercial mortgages, loans, bridging, any development finance, things like that. Then you tend to have invoice finance, which is finance against any of the invoices that the business might have. And then you tend to get the third strand, which is asset finance, where businesses look to finance the equipment and the vehicles within the business themselves. Some brokers do all 3, but some specialise as well. And I just specialise for the assets. So anything you can touch within the business, and I do mean anything. So I'm talking with somebody at the moment to do a restaurant fit out, which involves the tables, the chairs, the bar area, the bar itself, the CCTV, the telephony, fire alarms, anything like that goes into the building for the restaurant, up to large plant manufacturing lines, anything like that as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't realise there were 3 separate strands to it. It didn't occur to me that. So thank you for clarifying that.
No, it's fine. Well, it's interesting that sometimes people just want to stick to what they want to do. So I work with quite a few commercial brokers who just want to do what they do. They don't want to get involved in asset. Because out of the 3, really, generally speaking, and it is generally speaking, asset's quite fast-paced. So before COVID and people working from home, we could do a deal in 2 days.
Right.
It's about a week. Whereas, as you say, commercial mortgages can take months and months and months. And you wait for the dreaded solicitors to get things processed and all that, whereas that doesn't happen for me.
I suppose they are quite different then, really.
So when is it a good idea then to use asset finance? What might trigger you to, as a business owner, to think, oh, I'd be better off doing some asset finance on this? What do you think might be the sort of drivers for that?
Well, I think that the key thing to point out that there's always a positive outcome that comes from it.
Right.
So if somebody's looking to, on a smaller scale, a cafe wants a new coffee machine for say £3,000, which is obviously a large purchase for a business of that size. Instead of paying £3,000 out of cash flow and it's gone, that's it, done and dusted, they could finance it over a couple of years, so that there's more of a manageable chunk going out every month.
Yeah.
So they get the benefit of the machine there and then, but not having to panic and like's just happened now with COVID. If the pre-COVID taken £3,000 out of the business, that money's gone. And then how do they survive when they're closed during COVID? Well, a smaller monthly payment, let's say off the top of my head, let's say it's £200, that's more manageable to deal with. And that's the good thing. I mean, if you scale that up as well and you've got a large business wanting 15 vans is a heck of a lot of money to
Yeah,
fund
it
a
is.
business.
Yeah.
It's still a lot on a monthly payment, but relatively speaking, it's more palatable. And that's the thing to do. And the other way of looking at it as well, I deal with quite a few business owners who have a dream asset, something that's going to transform their business to make it more efficient, more productive, and maybe to put in a new production into the business, something that they don't currently do. And by financing the machine and getting it now, they get those benefits straight away. Some people say, "Oh well, I'll save up," but it's like anything, isn't it? By the time you've saved up for something, the shiny, exciting thing you wanted then is not the shiny, exciting thing you want now because there's been an upgrade or there's a new development in the
Yeah.
market. So
Or it's got more expensive.
yeah, absolutely, especially at the moment. So to get that asset, say on day one, it is better rather than saving up 2 years and it's not what you wanted and you've not got the benefits over that period of time as well from having that asset in the business.
Yeah. I mean, people sort of think of being in debt as being a bad thing, don't they? You know, people sort of think, oh, don't want to get in debt. Some people like that, but it's this is debt in a good way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's positive. It's positive debt, and I think the other thing that people forget as well is that lenders wouldn't lend them the money if they didn't think they could pay it back.
yeah,
So they're not getting into, well, they are technically getting into debt, but there's not a bad debt hanging over them. It's is this affordable and what's the business case for buying this asset? Well, as happened years ago, I financed a machine that was very expensive, but it replaced 4 members of staff. Well, the staffing monthly costs were higher than the monthly payments. So they got the efficient machine that was 10 times more productive than the staff, and they were actually saving money when they looked at the staffing cost versus the repayments. So there's, the lenders have to do their due diligence and see whether it's actually feasible as well and affordable, and it works for the business. So really, they are getting into debt, but lenders wouldn't let them get into a bad situation from day one.
so there are a lot of benefits to getting asset finance, aren't there?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, there's always a positive outcome associated with it, always, which is nice.
So, what should people think about them before they sort of go down this route? What are sort of the typical questions might people ask you that people, what should the thought process be?
People always ask about rate,
Yeah.
Right.
which is
Yeah.
because
How much
that's
is it going to cost me?
yeah, how much is it going to cost, and that's something to bear in mind. But also the affordability and budgeting. So I like to get involved with the customer in a purchase early doors. So if they're saying we're looking to do this, can you give us some indicative figures? And then we can work it into, is this going to work? So you're planning to do project X by financing this asset. What's it going to bring into the business, and how can it have an impact? So it becomes part of the budgeting process, and that's where the customers get the best sort of value because they can budget, and sometimes it's cheaper than they think. So if they've got a three-stage process in mind and they're wanting to do stage one now, well, sometimes they can actually do stage 1 and 2 or stage 1, 2, and 3 if they finance it, which gets them the wins from now rather than in a few months' time. So I think flipping it on its head, what you asked me, and it's what I ask the customer. Um, where does this purchase fit in? Why are you buying it? What's it going to bring to the business? And that's where there's more power in the conversation in terms of me finding out what it's going to do and why it's going to be there. Sometimes it's something as simple as we've got a van, we want to replace it. Well, that is what it is. But on larger projects or pieces of kit, it's a nice opportunity to find out where things are going and why.
And I suppose over your time of doing this as well, you'll have seen some good examples. Can you give us an example? It's been a really successful thing. They've gone for asset finance, and now they're doing really. I mean, obviously without naming names, but in what industry or sector or whatever, what is it that's
I've got one customer in particular who had got a lot of assets on hire, long-term hire, and looking to grow the business. And we just had a chance conversation that you've got all these assets that you're paying for every month, and we looked at higher costs versus financing, and we were saving, or we could have saved the customer over £6,000 a month.
wow?
Just buying them and putting on a finance agreement rather than paying the rentals.
Yeah.
So
Once you've got those assets as well in your business, then at the end, if you do decide to sell it, those assets are yours, aren't they?
And again, another positive conversation. A customer of mine has plans to sell the business in the next 5 years, and thought, well, I need to clear all the finance off before I look to sell the business, because then there's no debt going with the business. And we had the conversation, but then all your assets, because he changes them regularly, will be old. So they'll be buying a business with old assets that they'll need to replace. So actually, the debt's not a bad thing, because you've got relatively modern assets in the business that will be attractive to somebody buying it. So again, I think the thing that I like is not to have a transactional conversation with customers. It's to find out what's going on, what their plans are in the next 12, 18 months, maybe 2 years, to see where things fit in and so we can structure things so it suits them better. I hate the transactional nature of things, because you never get to know people and how the business works and see what they do. I like to get in, go and see them, get high vis on, walk around, and what makes
get involved, sort of thing. Yeah, get
involved. Because the other thing is as well, from a non-finance point of view, you can go around somebody's warehouse and find out that they're still using strip lights, and saying, well, energy prices are going up, why are you still using strip lights? They're mega expensive. Have you thought about LED, for example? Not to benefit me in any way, but just to look at helping the customer in other ways. And as you both know, I do quite a lot of networking, so I know people who do LEDs or saving money on printing and things like that. And if I can help a customer in another way, it's not benefiting me, but it's just helping that sort of know, like, and trust relationship with the customer. As a trusted, I won't say advisor, but a trusted critical partner, if you like.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that they know that you're trying to help them. You're not, you're doing things for them. You're not in it just for you. It's
Well, from a purely selfish point of view, I'd rather spend that time working with a customer to develop that relationship than spend that time trying to find a new customer. And trying to get new customers all the time. In 10 years' time, I'd like to build up a base of, say, 200 customers that regularly come back and that I can work with, and we know each other and how each other works.
It sounds a bit like a holistic approach that you've got there.
Well, when I first started, when I worked previously, I had a meeting with a guy, and he said, I know what's going to happen here. He said, you're going to give me some good rates for the first probably 6 months. Then you'll get greedy and you'll put your rates up, and then I'll work out that you're more expensive, and I'll go somewhere else. He says, that's how it works. He said, so we'll go forward on the basis that that's going to happen. And 6, 7 years on now, I was sat in his office, and somebody rang me up. He says, I'm sorry, I can't answer the phone. I'm speaking to my finance broker. And it just made me giggle, because I thought, I've actually managed to prove to him that isn't going to happen. He's going to get the best rate I can get him every time, because I want to be there for the long haul. And it made me giggle, because I thought, rewind 7 years ago, you'd have never said that.
Yeah. No, it was.
Is there a particular sector or industry or whatever that's better than others for sort of asset finance?
There are some. So as you'd imagine, construction's a good one.
Yeah.
Because they need the kit. and it's big kit. Haulage is good. Couriers, I've got a few customers that are couriers. Manufacturing and engineering, they're usually good. The really sexy one I find, and it probably sounds a little bit weird, is drainage.
It does sound weird, I must admit.
Yeah, very weird. So if you see a drainage tanker going down the road, they're very, very expensive, but perform fantastic jobs and are good revenue earners for drainage customers as well. Right. The transit vans going around that say drainage on the side, what you don't realise, the amount of kit that's in there, and sometimes they do so the front of the van will be the cab as you'd expect. Then they'll do a middle section, which is like a control room with a computer in there and a screen showing what's on the camera of the hole that's gone in the drain. So the robotically controlling that as it's going through the drains. Then the back bit's the dirty end where they keep all the rods and the moles and stuff that go underground. But those have to be explosive proof because of gas build-up.
All right.
So when you work out the changing a basic transit van, or other vans are available, into a drainage van, you've got the fit out to change it into a 3-section vehicle and the kit that goes in it. That van can be worth £80,000 from day one. So they are very expensive, but key to businesses doing drainage. If they're doing it from the other side, and it's not just finding the leaks and the damage, the jetting units in the back can be quite expensive for the high power jetting to clear the drains out. So drainage is quite a sexy sector when it comes to asset finance.
Right, I'll bet that my next time I was in there, I'll think, I wonder if James knows about these people. Yeah, I'll keep my eye up now, James. I'll watch out for that for you.
Yeah. So are there any things that people need to be aware of before they take on asset finance? Are there any precautions they should take?
There are things that can crop up as part of asset finance. So some lenders will accept the deal on the basis that the directors give a guarantee on this agreement. So what that would mean is if the business, the limited company, for example, can't make the payments, that the director then will become liable for the payments, and people sign guarantees on that basis. That's something to be aware of, and that's often the lender will say, we'll accept the deal on the proviso that the guarantee is available. So that discussion does take place before the agreement comes into place. What I would say is, for people looking at agreements, and this tends to be, or that I've seen it in car finance agreements, that sometimes the dealer will put a variable rate on the deal rather than a fixed. People don't always spot that. So, the rate might look good now, but as we've seen, the base rate's gone up, and therefore, on a variable rate agreement, the rate goes up. So what you're paying from day one isn't what you're paying at the end of the agreement. Whereas 100% of the agreements I've ever done have always been fixed rate. So the customer knows that that's the payment, and it always will be. There's a documentation fee up front, and that changes from lender to lender. There's usually around the £30 annual admin fee on the agreement as well. And at the end, on a hire purchase, if the customer wants to own the asset at the end, they pay a fee, again dictated by the lender, usually around £100 to own the asset at the end. But there are no massive pitfalls. And unlike a mortgage, if you want to finish the agreement early and settle it off early, there isn't a penalty added on there.
Oh, right, you can just pay it off, can you?
Yeah, so if you're 3 years into a mortgage agreement and you want to settle it off, there's usually 5-6% fee to settle it off. Whereas with an asset finance agreement, there isn't. You just apply for a settlement figure from the lender, and they say what they feel the customer owes at that time, and if they're happy with it, they pay it. So there's no extra fee added.
Yeah, good. Interesting.
Yeah, some great stuff.
Some good stuff, yeah, thank you for that. If people want to get in touch with you, James, to find out more about what you do, or even maybe use your services, what's the best way?
Phone's usually the best, because we can
right.
email you and you don't get the full. So, phone's always the best, or just arranging for me to go out and have a coffee, see the customers. That works better for me, customers happy in their own environment, and they explain how everything works. And
We've got all your links, so we'll put those in the show notes
Yeah.
for people to find, so they can find you if they're thinking of investing in something. And
Just say your phone number, just so people don't. If they want.
it's 07703 188 167.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah.
Great
We'll put it in the show notes as well, but just so people have got it to just listen and want to give you a quick call, because you never know, they might be desperate to buy some equipment and want to get onto you straight away. Hope so.
Oh.
Well, I think that's been a really good explanation of how how to use asset finance and how it benefits your business. So thank you very much for that, James. It's been really, really great talking to you.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Yeah, it's been good. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll say goodbye and wish you all the best.
Yeah. Take care, James.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're almost at the end of this week's show, but just as a reminder before we go, don't forget to book your place at one of our online or face-to-face networking events where you can meet some great business owners and build those business relationships. We believe the best business comes from the best relationships. The link is in the show notes.
We'd also like to mention our books, which are available on Amazon. How to improve your business networking skills. 52 tips to help you with your networking. We've also got our Notably Networking One-to-One Networking Notebook, a place to keep all your notes from those follow-up one-to-ones. And last but not least, our 90 Days to Your Success Journal, where you can plan, set and plot the actions you will take to achieve your goals.
So thank you so much for joining us this week on In Business Talks 2 Friday Fix. We hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, all that we ask is that you simply tell a friend about the show. And please follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together
We are in business.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.